Good morning, preppers. Time is short. Time is short because, I think there's bad times coming. And when we want to be able to prepare for bad times, it's not simply just stockpiling food, which is good. Stockpiling water or learn how to purify water, which is good. It goes beyond that. And I say it all the time. People say, oh, I can't afford to prep. Of course you can, because prepping is not simply just stockpiling. When it comes to being ready for a day crap will hit the fan, there are certain things you can do now and actually adapt it into your life. Because in a previous video, we talked about goals. We want to be able to set goals and to be able to work toward those goals, because you'll never be successful in whatever you want to be successful in unless you do that. So how do you actually set these goals, and what can you do to actually make your life better to be able to prepare for these things? Well, I put together a list of 7 things that you should be practicing every single day to be prepared for that when the day crap hits the fan. But listen, even if crap doesn't hit the fan, these are still 7 things you should be doing. Okay, this is the 7 habits of Eric from Goshen Prepping for highly successful preppers. That's the name of this video. You want to be able to be prepared. And these 7 things are going to help you overall just in life. And I think a lot of these you probably already do. In fact, I'd like you to, after the video's over, put in the comments below something you might add to the list. All right, number 1, first thing you should do, and I know I hate it, but we have to do it, is we have to keep an eye on the news. You have to watch at current events and see what's happening. And not simply, people are saying, oh, don't watch this and don't listen to them and it's all garbage. But you can still get a pulse on what's happening in the world, no matter who you believe is causing it, no matter who you believe is orchestrating it, no matter what news agency is putting a spin on it. A lot of times the actions are still happening. And if you can actually watch what's going on and keep a pulse on it, because we'll actually have times where things are simply just chaotic and horrible. And then we'll have times where, today's not a bad day. There just didn't seem to be a whole lot going on. And so keeping your finger on the pulse of current events and affairs is vitally important, because understand that anytime there's any major battle, the intelligence has to come in first. What are we up against? How many people are there? What's the terrain like? The list goes on and on. And weather comes into play too. Even just for simply preparing, you don't want to get caught in a snowstorm, that may be coming tomorrow. Or tomorrow's got a bad front coming that may actually produce tornadoes. So you always want to keep an eye on the news and the weather too. All right, number 2. And this one escapes a lot of people, and it escaped me for years, and that's proper nutrition. You want to make sure that you actually have proper nutrition. Now, for Ashley and I, we eat keto, but it's beyond simply just whatever diet works for you. There's a lot of people I know the diet works very well eating like raw veggies. I'm not a raw veggie kind of guy. I'm a meat kind of guy, okay? And that's just me. But it goes beyond simply proper nutrition like that, because we've actually seen a trend in the United States where it used to be that a nice balanced meal was the norm, maybe meat and potatoes, or having some kind of casserole, etc. To now, more and more people are depending on simply just having a bag of Doritos, because it's quick and easy. And let's be honest, that garbage food tastes delicious. And you're like, oh, I don't want to get up and make anything. I don't want to go out and go to a fast food restaurant, which costs an arm and a leg. Here's a bag of Doritos. Yeah, they do taste good. And you sit down and just have that for dinner. We're seeing this happening more and more. And of course, you'll see it in my children. Hey, Dad, can I just have chips for lunch? No, of course not. On the most part, I don't really like chips in the house, but it is kind of like a tasty thing to add to like a meal. Let's say we're having hamburgers one night. You want a few chips with the hamburgers? Sure, we may do that. But I think it's a mindset. I think there's probably chemicals in those chips or whatever we're talking about as far as garbage food to get you want to be hooked to it. It wants to suck you in and actually eat that garbage food. But beyond even just eating right, not eating all that garbage food all the time, or, at least in moderation, our vegetables and fruit, mind you, too, from farming going on so long, have basically been depleted and void of nutrients. So taking vitamins is vitally important. And I've noticed as my age goes on, and as I get in better shape, I'm taking more and more vitamins. It went from a couple to a pile of vitamins now, all kinds of stuff. And I haven't felt better in my life. I feel amazing. And I think between trying to eat right and the vitamins, it's really put me in a situation. As I'm getting older, I feel better now than I did 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And it's simply just because of nutrition and vitamins. Now, of course, going along with those, number 3, you need to develop some kind of workout routine. And obviously, depending on your situation, it may just simply involve swimming. It's one of the gentlest workouts you could do, or riding a bike. That's actually a pretty good one too, especially if you have a recumbent bike. But trying to do some kind of workout practically every day is very important. You want to be able to keep your heart going and keep your metabolism up, not simply just to lose weight, but to keep your body healthy. Now, what I always recommend is you actually alternate days. One day you do some kind of cardio, maybe go for a bike ride. The next day, do some strength training, and that can involve either some kind of yoga, so high intensity training, core training. For us, we do a lot of martial arts, and you alternate back and forth. There's nothing wrong if you want to do every single one every day, but it actually can start to hurt your body in the long run if you try to push these every single day. Cardio maybe, but not strength training. But if you actually alternate them back and forth each day, it actually works pretty well. But if you don't have a workout routine, I would pick up from your local library a Zumba, or they still have Zumba, or what's the kickbox? Billy Banks kickboxing. I used to like that. Number 4, learn a new skill every day. And I find this to be the most intellectually challenging thing to do as you learn new skills. And it can be anything. You maybe want to learn how to do ham radio, or maybe you've always want to get into woodworking. Maybe you actually want to learn some medical techniques, herbology, or some medicine you get from herbs and plants. The list is endless, obviously, but you need to challenge yourself. Don't be a slug and sit in front of a TV all day and just think that watching TV is going to do this. YouTube is helpful, but YouTube, unfortunately, takes a lot of the actual thought processes out of doing these things. In other words, you could actually watch a YouTube video on how to use goldenrod for a certain medical treatment, but unless you actually get out and cut the goldenrod yourself and actually do what you need to, you're never really going to actually learn it. You need to get your hands on and do these things. So you need to learn a new skill each day, keep your brain sharp, and keep pushing to become a better person. Back into more preparedness, number 5, you also need to run drills. And if you can do some kind of drill every single day, or at least preparations of a drill, maybe you have a large family like I do, and you actually have fire drills to call people to different parts of the house, or how to escape. Home invasion drills we've talked about in the past. We've had these in our house, and it saved our family as people tried to basically get in our house. Medical drills. The list goes on and on. What do we do if there's an EMP? What if there's a nuclear? What if we do if there's actually an economic collapse or a complete blackout? The list goes on and on. And so trying to work on these drills for your house and practicing these things often is literally life or death. And so, again, it doesn't cost a penny to do these things. In fact, everything we've listed so far doesn't cost anything except for maybe vitamins. But if you're buying food, you should be buying vitamins too, because the food doesn't contain the vitamins that it should. So running drills, this actually should occupy a lot of your time. But I'm not saying you have to do 8 hours every day. If you just take 10 minutes a day to work on some kind of drill, work on it with your family, that may involve 10 minutes a day. Today I'm going to plan it. Tomorrow, maybe I'll plan it some more. And then finally the next day, okay, guys, we're going to run through this drill. That's all you need to do. You don't need to occupy your entire day doing these things all the time. All right, so as all these things happen, and people say all the time that, wow, Eric, you and Ashley are so level-headed and you don't get completely worked up about things, even though things are in the news. That's true. And you need to find a way to manage stress. I always simply say this: look, guys, we prepare so we don't worry about things. We prepare so we don't stress out. But it goes beyond that. I personally believe that our lives aren't really in our hands anyways. I believe that there's a high power that orchestrates everything. And there's one thing in this channel I don't talk about a lot is religion and beliefs, even though I find people really try to push their beliefs on the channel. It's not about that. It's about preparedness. But having beliefs is helpful, especially alleviating stress. Or maybe you do yoga. Maybe you're into meditation. Or maybe because of your beliefs, you're into praying and praying often. Whatever the case may be, even if you just sit in a dark room and breathe in through your nose and push out through your mouth, whatever it might be, try to find some ways to alleviate stress. I find hanging out with my 8 kids, a lot of people would say that causes them stress, not me. I adore hanging out with my kids, all 8 of them. And that de-stresses me no matter what's happening. I could see the worst headline news, then sit down and play Barbies with my daughter, and I'm perfectly fine. I'm very stress-free at that point. And then number 7, something you should practice every single day. And this almost could be number 1, but I save best for last, is situational awareness. You definitely have to have a continuous eye on everything around you, especially outside your house. But in your house too, understand that you want to be able to watch out the windows, see what kind of cars are driving by or slowly pulling up while you're out and about with your family. Never turn your back on people. When you sit in a restaurant, for example, keep your back to the wall and watch what's happening. Watch every person coming in. Often when you see somebody about to do something crazy, you can see it in their eyes. You can see that they're literally agitated. They're looking around a lot. There's a lot of things you can do to actually diffuse or stop a situation before it even takes place. And this has happened with us many, many times. So watch some videos on YouTube about situational awareness. But more importantly, this, as well as the rest of them, you need to practice these things every single day. Just take a little bit of time, just a little bit. It doesn't take much, just a little bit of time for each one of these things, and practice these things every single day. And within a week or two, you'll be amazed at how much closer you're prepared for when shit hits the fan. Because in my opinion, shit is going to hit the fan. And when that time comes, you're not going to have time to practice any of these, and you're going to be in big trouble. Okay, hope this helps you out. And again, in the comments below, anything you'd like to add to this, I'd appreciate that. And let's get a conversation going. Thanks for watching.